Okay, I'm waiting. The stream is live.
Oh my God, that
Lawrence, it
happened so
was
fast.
instantaneous and good thing too. Look at us running a few minutes late this morning. But good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Whatever Show. I'm Dana Dubois,
I'm Lawrence Witterman.
my best friend.
That's my best friend.
So happy to see you this morning, Lawrence. And might I say, I'm so thankful to see you.
Aw, I see what you did there. That's
Yeah.
so clever, Dana. No one
Some
else has done anything like that ever before.
never. Hey, not everything can be, completely new and bringing an idea
Right.
that's never
Yes,
existed before into
everything
the
is
world.
derivative. All art is derivative.
Except the Daily Whatever Show.
Right.
You,
We are
yeah,
completely new and unique. Sui
right. No one's
generis, unlike anything that has ever existed before.
1,000%. That's why we're here every day. Today we're going to be joined by Dash from, excuse me, Dash
From
from
Big
the
Hacking
Halfway
Cough.
Cafe.
The halfway
Um,
cafe, sweetie.
Oh, we're gonna have Dash from the Halfway Cafe here. That's the second time this morning I've gone into old smoking lady barfly mode. I feel a little hoarse. I don't know why, but I don't know, all the
A bit
talking.
of a pony. You're a little horse.
Oh, you're so funny.
Yes. Again, all art is derivative.
You're right, Lawrence. I published a bit of a story last night.
I know, I read it.
Yeah, it was just sort of a easy to write one. And I need to go share it to Pink Hair and Pronouns to cross post it because that's it's a very Pink Hair and Pronouns themed story around Thanksgiving and how I wrote a similar story in the past, and it was called "Give Grandma a Break." That was just what it was about, and it was about the idea of if your child is going through a pronoun gender exploration or outright change. Um, it was my mom stumbled a bit, right, and would use their old name or the wrong pronoun, and I think that it. I'm pausing here a little bit. Last year, pre Trump 2.0, I gave a lot of grace for that. Of like, if they're trying, it's okay. Like, gently correct or ask your child if they want to if they want you to correct on their behalf. Sometimes mine did not, mine didn't want me to. And so the story was like if the intent is good, it's hard for the oldsters to do this sometimes, but that
Yes.
doesn't mean they're terrible people. Because I did see some people being like, oh, railing about their parents in way or about older people in ways that I was like, give grace for effort. But in Trump 2.0, this is a different story, and especially for Thanksgiving when people are being brought in and coming in from out of town and they have to be around family they may not be around all the time with differing political views. Like you have to really gauge if it's safe for you and your child to be there. The stakes are far higher, so it's important to distinguish between honest error and like moral failing on behalf of your family and to act accordingly. So I'm thankful that is not my family. I'm not flying anywhere, so I won't be seeing my extended family for Thanksgiving. But um, they were always very much in the former camp, and they did a pretty good job, and still do. I mean, my younger
Yes.
child still uses a chosen name, but I was inspired lightly by Dash because he wrote a very funny story about Uncle Maga at Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
and
it's hilarious, of course.
of
Like
course
all
he's
things that Dash writes for Halfway Cafe, it's super hilarious. I loved it. I'm
yes.
really fortunate that my entire family is liberal. You know, we're in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We're like the last living Democrats in Indiana, and we still manage to find a way to fight about politics. It's just like a
Yes.
matter of degrees, a
Yeah.
matter of if we do
Right.
reparations, how should we do it best kind of thing. Oh,
Yes.
Kira.
I know. I was like, does she need to go up? She's just, I think, barking at me to come join her in the living room.
Aw.
She's like, why are you not on the sofa with the fireplace going?
Uh,
Why are you
Speaking of joining, I'm going to pull Dash in because I
bring him
feel like we
in?
can't reference his article and not have him here to
Bring
take
bring him in.
props.
We haven't
Dash,
talked about any news, but if we do, I want Dash to be here for that as
for
well.
sure.
How's it going, guys?
Good
Good. How
morning,
are you, man?
Dash.
Good, very good. I hit number 2 on the Substack Rising list today and yesterday, so that's kind of
Holy
cool.
shit,
I don't know
that's
if I've ever
amazing.
been that high
Congratulations.
before. Yeah,
The
thanks.
All Up Rising list?
Yeah, yeah, not the total. I guess I don't have enough paid subscribers. I'm like in the 60s, but like I stay in the top 10 rising. So I don't know. Do you guys know how the rankings actually work on the like top lists of Substack?
We're
We
pretty
have
sure
some
we figured it out
theories.
during our pledge drive. It
You have some
it
theories?
really seems to be a combination of number of new paid subscribers and recency or frequency of new articles published. So, like, you've got a pretty regular publishing schedule. Like, you've always got new stuff
Yeah, like
coming out.
almost every day.
Yeah, yeah, and so that
That
plus
helps.
an influx of paids would absolutely get you to the
Yeah.
top of the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Dash.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, I don't know, because I notice the rising list all the time. Like, it doesn't take too many new paid subscribers, I guess, to like
Right,
rise up on the rising list.
right.
Yeah.
But like sometimes even just like I'll get like 2 or 3 or something one day, and I'll like jump up like up to like top 10 again or whatever. And then like a
Yeah.
day will go by, and I'll like drop out of the I don't know, top 20 or something. And I don't know, it's just interesting to watch those lists. It's kind of a cool feature on Substack, and I found some cool other writers just based off of that. So it's kind of a cool feature.
Yeah, same. It's a great way to kind of discover new people. It's really interesting. At the time that we were kind of on the rising list, there was somebody who, like, I don't want to say he gamed the system, but I think he put a post somewhere else. And I don't even know what the post was, but he got this influx of, like, I don't know, a couple hundred new paid subscribers all at once. And so he had literally like one post on his Substack and was
Yeah,
number
I've noticed a
one.
few of those.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, how did you do that, man? That's
Right. The
that's pretty amazing.
gamification is funny, and that's kind of one of our goals at the Daily Whatevers, is that whenever we learn stuff about, like, hey, we figured out some of the secret sauce. I'm even wondering, Lawrence, our pledge drive ended on September 21st. If since then the algorithms probably changed. We haven't done any tests like that in a while, but
Probably, yeah.
we definitely noticed it only took even 1 or 2 new paid subscribers combined with a news story that was gaining some traction. And an unfortunate thing we've noticed is that these, like, recapping a live doesn't seem to count.
Right.
Oh,
Even
really? Okay.
no, it has to be a written story. At least what it did, don't you think, Lawrence? I think
Yeah,
we
no, it was definitely like new content, written story, and not just, like a recap of, we'll post a recap of today's, of course, conversation with you, and that's probably not good enough to kind of move the needle in terms of what Substack
Yeah.
wants to see.
unless
Do you
a
guys
whole bunch of people subscribe. No,
yeah.
even then, though, I
Yeah,
don't think
everybody
some people
subscribe.
do.
Do you
Yeah.
guys use notes a lot? Do you use the notes function?
Kind of. I mean, there are plenty of people out there who are way better at notes than we are.
Yeah.
I kind of like I get busy throughout the day and I sort of forget. And I'll jump in and see people posting notes. I'm like, oh yeah, I had that thought. I could have said that, or
Yeah.
I restack a lot. That seems to
Okay.
be kind of pretty effective in terms of letting the algorithm know that you're active. And what I found is that if you restack a bunch, it starts to show you new things. So your feed gets less sort of locked into kind
Right.
of your
That makes
regular
sense.
echo
Yeah.
chamber. It starts to feed you new stuff. So yeah,
I don't think I ever restack anything, and maybe that's maybe the algorithm would treat me differently or something if I did. But I use notes all the time because like the halfway
Yeah.
post I've been doing on Twitter forever. So
yeah,
when I have a free day, I set like hourly alarms. So like every hour, like I'll doom scroll real quick and try to come up with some joke, and I try to treat it like a 9 to 5 job kind of. But then like I'll always do it. I copy and paste on Twitter, Threads, Facebook, Medium, Substack notes. Like just I go down the list of like all my tabs, and so I try to, I guess with the notes function, it's just kind of easy because I'm always coming up with those like Twitter headlines anyway. But
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
That's
I-
super smart.
It's really smart. We should do that.
I'm like, add
Yeah.
that to the list. Lawrence and I both have jobs during the day, and I especially, like, I can't log into from other than on my phone when I'm at work, and even then the
Oh,
time
really?
is
Okay.
for now at
Yeah.
least that is the reality. But if you have well, I will say we have one tip about restacking, which seems to be that if a story it gets restacked quite a bit in the first 24 to 48 hours, it really algorithmically boosts it. So
Hmm.
restacks can be very effective for that. So if you
Yeah.
all want to restack my story and Dash's story when we
Yeah.
post the links, we would love that. Although yours is a little old now. Mine just went live today, so it would be the day to
Right.
restack.
It
But
seems to be so restacking is better than
yes,
just likes. Like, restacks kind of count double, sort of. And it has to be within the first 48 hours that the story is live. But if you get like
yes,
a really good ratio where there's kind of like 2 likes to every restack, Substack seems to read that as the story is super popular and will start kind of sending it out and boosting it to a much bigger audience. So restacking is really
yeah,
effective. Dash, you should do an experiment where maybe for like one day, everything that you like, also restack it. You don't even have to do the note, just hit the
Hmm.
restack button and restack everything that you like and see how that changes the algorithm for you for that day or for the next day.
Yeah, I'll try that. I feel like I'm a person that works harder, never smarter. A lot of times with like social media and everything,
Yeah.
but I should probably look into more how like the algorithms actually work. Because there's those people that like have no followers and like game the system and go like super viral and power to
yeah.
them, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Um,
that's definitely not us. We're
why we
we're
like to
working neither
share.
harder nor
Yeah.
smarter.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Right.
We yeah, if we have kind of secrets to share though, let's share them. Do you anything you do in notes that people tend to really like?
No, I think it's just maybe the frequency and just, it's like those Dadaist graffiti news like headlines that I just write constantly. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at staying organized. Like I'm like real big in the notes app on my phone. So like I'll write
Yeah.
down all these ideas I have when I doom scroll and just check the feed, and I try not to doom scroll too much because like I'll just waste too much time. And then, I've been better too at like I'll post like an article, or like an older article or something if I can't think up an idea. But like oftentimes I'll be like doom scrolling for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and I still don't have a joke. And I'm like, maybe I'm just not feeling creative now. So I've been a little better at maybe not wasting as much time doom scrolling. And it's definitely doom scrolling these days, with all the the
Yeah.
crazy Trump 2.0 news and everything like that.
Oh,
Yeah. Speaking of, I loved your Uncle MAGA article. It was hilarious,
Oh,
and
thank you.
it really is funny to like just sort of read the list of all the like, oh yeah, maybe we could not talk about how the tariffs made me lose my job,
Yeah, I
and
like that at the end.
yeah, just the whole kind of like, oh right, it really has been a shit show for these last 10 months or whatever it's been.
Yeah, but hey, we got a special election coming up in Tennessee, that House race. Apparently, like the internal polling from that Democratic candidate, I forget her name, but has her within 4 points from her
Right.
internal
Yeah.
polls, despite it
Yeah.
being like a plus 22 Trump district. So
I saw that, like
we'll
a
see.
Trump 22 district, and she's within striking distance of actually winning. That would I keep hearing all these things, I mean, like reading and kind of hearing on MSNBC or whatever, MS Now, sorry, that like,
whatever.
I guess
Don't dead
there's
name
Twitter
it.
and MSN forever.
such
Ever since
dissension in the ranks in the House that like Mike Johnson really like there's a chance he could lose his job. Like there's a chance stuff could
Yeah.
shift enough that, the Democrats actually take control before the
Yeah,
elections
I
in
love those
2026.
rumors that like more Republicans might retire. That would be something if Republicans have a trifecta of government. I said
Oh my
this
God.
before the election, like the worst thing to happen to Republicans was them getting full control of Congress
Yeah.
because they have no agenda. They like literally shut down the government for 2 months because they have no agenda other than just like salving the ego complex of Donald Trump. So like, it would have been so good for them had they not had a trifecta, not had both chambers of Congress, and then they can just blame everything on the Democrats. But
For
now, like,
sure.
they're in charge and
Yeah.
they're totally rudderless. They have nothing going on. Everything Trump's doing with like Project 2025 is all just executive orders. So it'll be easily, hopefully, replaced like by, the next Democratic president that comes in with
Yeah.
his or her own executive orders. So fingers crossed on that.
Yeah. No, I like, I, I kind of have gotten to the point where I'm thinking, is it maybe like I know so much harm has been done, so don't yell at me because I know people have died and whatnot. But like, maybe we needed a second Trump term so that we could finally all hit the point where we're like, yeah, you know what?
Oh,
Fuck capitalism and fuck all the
yeah,
fake
it's
guardrails.
actually really
We're
bad.
gonna expand the Supreme Court. We're gonna add DC and Puerto Rico. Like we're gonna go balls to the wall, reform like FDR style, New
Yeah, I
Deal,
hope
like
so.
fuck everything. So yeah, that's the only way it would be worth it in my mind.
Yeah.
And even then,
I
there are so many lives lost that you can't really
Well,
save it.
yeah. With like the Doge stuff, like I think it's like in the tens of thousands of lives that have been affected in like Africa and all these impoverished countries from all those
Yeah,
US aid
Think it's
programs that
right,
higher.
right,
got
yeah,
cut. Yeah. So that's not ideal, but it's like I think the nice thing now is that enough MAGA voters are being affected, like all these farmers that are losing their livelihoods,
Yeah.
all of the people who don't want rampant immigration but aren't necessarily like the total xenophobes, is like Stephen Miller, and like their family members, community members are getting hit. Like cost of living is going up because the farmers are, and like a lot of the uh, a lot of jobs that like white Americans don't want to do are having trouble staffing now because they've deported a lot of these immigrants that did all this
right.
labor, and like that's the kind of thing that it's like if enough Republicans and like MAGA voters, touch the hot stove and get burned, like that's maybe a good thing. I don't know what else will like change their voting habits of like keep electing Republicans that are not doing anything for them or the country other than just like cutting taxes for the rich every chance they get, but not really having any other agenda that they're willing to spend any political capital doing. Certainly not Trump, like who doesn't care about policy or, to this day doesn't know how like legislation gets passed or
Right.
how it gets implemented. So, hopefully enough MAGA people get affected by this that, I don't know, maybe the enthusiasm like totally like drops out of the floor, and like you said, hopefully Democrats win big and can have a good agenda, and hopefully they have a project 2029 like ready to go, and they don't spend like 2 years compromising on these big bills that get watered down and then leave everybody unhappy at the end of the day.
Right?
Yeah, it was funny. I was talking to our friend Nick Parrow, who I don't
It's
know if Nick is in the chat yet, but
I haven't seen him. Nick, if
he
you're here, say hi.
last time I was talking to him, he was like, better than Project 2025 or 2029, we need like a Project 2075, right? Like we need
Hit
here's the vision that we have for how America should be 50 years from now, and here's everything we need to do to accomplish it. And it's like expanding the Supreme Court and universal health care, all of the things that we all talk about all the time, but like really having a roadmap so that we're like baking it in and making sure that it's not stuff that gets overturned with the next Republican president, right? Because that's the
yeah.
that's the fear, is even if we have a landslide election in 26 and 28 and we take back all branches of government, then the fear is that like in 2032 Don Jr. runs, right? And he gets swept in on the Trump name. And then we're just like
Yeah.
caught in this never ending cycle of whipsawing between MAGA Trumps and rational people.
Yeah, I liked it. My vision of America is that somebody like Don Jr. would not get elected, but
Right.
I was wrong I thought the same thing about his dad.
Yeah.
I was wrong about that.
No, for real.
Coming after Obama, I really thought America wouldn't elect such a obvious idiot, but
Same. I was working at the time I was in an international job where I was working with people in Ireland and in New Delhi, India all the time. And the whole campaign, they're like, "Oh God, like is Donald Trump gonna win?" I was like, "You guys, trust me, there's no chance Donald Trump's gonna
Yeah.
win."
You got all the polls showing Hillary like 5 to 8 points
Yeah,
ahead.
for sure.
Guys, it's not possible. Trust me.
Right. No,
Right?
seriously, like I know American politics, but this isn't gonna happen. And then it happened, and they were all like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, I literally don't know.
We used to.
Lawrence
Were
and I
either of you?
hosted a party that election night in 2016. And we had, I mean, there were like 60 or 70 people in that bar. And
Yeah.
there were kids because we had a room where you could bring kids. Mine were in grade school and all their friends came and I still have those drawings somewhere, Lawrence, of like all of these, they were pretty warped pictures of like Hillary beating on Trump and stuff. Like we thought we were all there to witness history as the first woman president got elected and the
Oh,
whole
wow.
vibe in that bar. I don't even, it makes me sick to even talk about how terrible that night was.
Yeah,
But
what about this last November when Kamala lost? Were you
I,
surprised that Trump won again? Like I was not going
no,
into it with the same expectation as like 2016. We're like, there's no way he can win. Democrats got it locked in the bag. I was like kind of not totally surprised that Trump ended up winning just from like I travel a lot and like my pulse of the country was just, you know, apathy among like liberal young people was extremely high, like apathy. So like the you know the fact that like 8 million Biden voters didn't vote for Kamala, you know, I guess I wasn't maybe totally surprised, although I was obviously extremely disappointed.
yeah. I was surprised. Like I didn't have kind of the same unshakable cockiness that I had in 2016.
Hmm.
Like I recognized that it could happen, but like again, I thought, okay, I think I understand the way polls work and the adjusting for all the changes and expectations since 2016 and 2020. Like
yeah,
I'm pretty sure she's got it. And then the result came in, and I was just like, I don't believe it. Like I do believe it because I believe that we're living in the worst fucking timeline, but also I kind of it still doesn't make sense to me. And the like this will hold and some of the other big accounts on Substack that are kind of advocating for like, hey, the data is there that he didn't win, that they did cheat. I really that actually makes sense to me. Like
that
I'm not
yeah.
sure that I'm willing to put on the full tinfoil hat and be like, they stole it, it was a conspiracy, but we've come to believe that he's capable of anything, right? He's absolutely capable of anything. And do I believe that Elon Musk has enough money and wherewithal that he could have stolen the election for Trump? Yeah,
And
I do.
power. I
What do
mean,
you think he's sitting out right now? Do you think he's just like sitting out of these last special elections the Democrats want to like a almost like a full sweep of?
Yeah, I wonder, right? Because I think maybe there's something technically different between. I mean, I know all elections are state level, like local state level elections, right? But I feel like there was something maybe about the data aggregation that occurred during a presidential that maybe doesn't happen during off year elections. Um, yeah, I don't know. I kind of do think Musk is like keeping his powder dry. In my crazy tinfoil hat head, I do think, you know, if indeed there is this conspiracy and if Musk was integral and, things about Starlink satellites connected to the data tabulators, um, I think maybe he's not doing that again because it's very logistically hard to do. And he's kind of keeping it for 26 maybe or for the next presidential, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I guess I'm not surprised that Trump won by he didn't win like a giant majority by any means. I think it was like barely over a percent or something, like right around 1%.
Right.
So, of course, Trump is like, I have a mandate, biggest
oh,
election win ever. No one could believe it. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, you won by 1%. But I don't know. I've seen some of those articles and stuff, reports about it. I don't really know quite what to believe. I guess you always get that a little bit like, Republicans obviously always accuse Democrats of cheating constantly. And like,
Right.
I guess that's
yes.
not necessarily true. They just get conspiratorial about like the mail in ballots and things like that. But
It's a
um,
tell. I mean, they're just telling what they're doing. As far as I'm concerned, that's
yeah, I
thousand
mean
percent just a
that
tell.
that's a good point. If they're
Yeah,
accusing Democrats of doing it, it probably means they're doing
means they're
it.
doing
Yeah,
it.
I mean, honestly, that seems to be like the whole Trump like
All
decoder ring,
projection.
right? Is
Yep,
everything that he accuses other people of doing is what he's actually done, So
Yeah.
yep. That
yeah, absolute
seems
madness
about
though.
right to me. When I
Yeah.
read this will hold it's a do you read that one? It's a Substack publication, and a lot of it is about the fact that the election was stolen is the
Oh.
starting premise. And like nobody went there, right? Because we're not January 6th like insurrectionalists. We're not super fan. We're not standing on our candidates, and like we're adults and we believe in the peaceful transfer of power. And so we took the results and just accepted them. But I have read some things on there that did give me pause around like, how could he have won every single swing state? And it, kind of hops into some data around how improbable that was to win them and to win them so quickly, that we're not a country that is that decisive about him. We were truly at an inflection point of indecision. And I don't know, a part of me feels like maybe we should have investigated that a little. Would we have been
Right.
better served at least digging? What do you think, Dash? Do you think that Democrats just, are we accepting results too easily because we
Yeah.
believe in the process?
Yeah, well, if
Should
you're
we fight?
asking me if I think Democrats are bad at politics and messaging, big yes. on
That for sure.
I think they're
Yeah.
always terrible at that. They will always
Yeah.
pick the path of least resistance because they are, they bring pillows to the proverbial gunfight, with all things politics, while Trump's out there saying like vermin and scum and using Nazi rhetoric and destroying every norm and constitutional
Malarkey.
institution.
Malarkey, I say. Yeah.
Right.
Do you guys have any opinions on like what Democrats should do for 2026? I guess we had a big wilderness year, but now thankfully I think Democrats have the energy again after the special like off year elections where they won so big. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of I guess controversy among like liberals and Democrats over like how big of a tent do we want? I think
Mhm.
Hillary and Kamala both were kind of like big tent politicians, and they both lost. Kamala was literally campaigning with Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger and stuff like that. And I thought it was a good theory of the case at the moment of like, hey, let's get a lot of these disaffected Republicans and like patriotic conservatives that don't like everything Trump's doing. And we were wrong. It didn't work. They didn't really cut. That percentage of the vote did not come out for Kamala Harris. They just held their
Right.
nose and voted for Trump again for, I guess, tax cuts or something, or abortion or guns or whatever. So a lot of those people might just have single issue voters where Democrats will just never earn their vote no matter what positions they have. But do you have any ideas on what Democrats should do for 2026, 2028, based off of like the special elections we just had?
I have a few, but
spend much
Lawrence,
time
this
thinking
is
about
you.
politics.
Yeah.
What's that?
Sorry.
I said I don't really spend much time thinking about politics. I don't.
Oh, really? Well, that's my personality
kidding.
flaw, probably.
He's kidding.
No,
He's-
no.
Oh, okay.
I'm completely joking. I
Lawrence
obsess
is-
about politics.
Yes.
I think it's fun. You're like, do you have any ideas? Oh, Dash.
You have many ideas?
Do I have ideas?
I'm
But
picturing
Dana-
you opening your
Dana,
Harry
you
Potter
go
like scroll.
before I monopolize the conversation.
Do you want me to jump in? Is that what you said before you monopolize?
Yeah.
I will say quickly, and then I'm going to let Lawrence monopolize the conversation. Yes, I believe in a big tent. I think that the big tent needs to have boundaries around no one getting left behind, as Lawrence would say. The big tent cannot say, but women don't get bodily autonomy, or but we're just going to huck the trans people out of the tent. So that's my starting point on a tent. But otherwise, I hope that they look at the data very carefully. I think part of the problem with Kamala was she didn't have time. She had 100 days. There had to be quick decisions had to be made around all up strategy, and that's the one they went with. It was a sensible strategy. It was one that made sense. Would one have played better? Probably, but I hope that people better at math and statistics than I am are doing the work right now to dig into the data. I hope they're not throwing anyone out of the tent. And my third one would be, I hope they are looking at the wins and who won, and they are seeing that it is that pretty, I hate to say far left, because they're not far left. They are sensible, traditionally democratic views like, hey, people should be able to eat good food and get health care. Pretty undeniably like rational things, and very kitchen table issue, I guess, like very basic. I hope they're able to see that folks like that are the ones who are getting people fired up, because the world is becoming unsustainable for so many of us. And the Democrats are not afraid to lean into those kind of candidates like Zoran Mandami, who like fire people up because they make people believe there's still room for them here in the US. Like, to me, that is what really seems to be the common thread between Katie Wilson here in Seattle. We elected a new mayor as well. Didn't make as much splash as New York City. We had 2 Democrats running, but the very centrist sides with the corporations every time incumbent Bruce Harrell lost to the street busking, had to have her parents watch her kids because she couldn't afford daycare while she was running for office, takes the bus candidate, Katie Wilson, who doesn't have executive experience. But you know what? I voted for her because I want to see change. And I think there's a wave about that. That ground swelling that's coming up. I hope Democrats don't piss all over it. I hope they grow it and nurture it.
Don't hold your breath on
Lawrence,
that.
phew. Lawrence, you're up.
Yeah, I mean all of that, right? Like I think this is the time for incredibly bold stances. I think people are responding to that. They don't want the Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, mealy mouth. We're going to pretend like it's the old way of doing things. You know, Democrats do best when they're actually standing for something. And so it needs to be healthcare for all. It needs to be housing for everybody and reforming capitalism so that it isn't so extractive and punitive and, has so much control. Ending Citizens United, every
Yes.
big idea that we have ever had, we need to put it out there and basically say, this is the, whatever we want to call it, the new deal, right? Or whatever, and we should take some really bold swings and talk about things like AI is changing the work landscape. Maybe we need universal basic income or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you think they should nuke the filibuster to do that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the filibuster is archaic. It is not in the Constitution. It is, an accident of history, basically, that doesn't, that no longer serves a purpose, right? It's been used so many, yes, it has kind of saved things every once in a while, but it more often gets used as a tool to hinder progress. And we need to remove any obstacle to progress at this point. So getting rid of the filibuster means that we can get healthcare for all and get, Puerto Rico and DC as states and expand the Supreme Court, then get rid of the filibuster. I don't think it, if we constantly live in this fear of, oh, but next time they could be in power and they're going to use it against us, then you don't fucking stand for anything, right? Like if we had the courage of our convictions and sold those convictions to the American public, we could make sure that public opinion was on our side such that they couldn't overturn Obamacare or expanded healthcare for everybody or whatever it is. Like, we need to go out there and swing big. Like, we talk about the Overton window on the show all the time, and I recently wrote a piece and did a show with Marlon Weems on reparations. Right? We should talk about reparations. It may be that the compromise position to reparations is that we don't do reparations, but that we do reinvest in healthcare for everybody and really robustly funded public school districts across the country. I would take that as a compromise position, right? But we need to pull the Overton window back to the left. It is so far to the right now that, even compromise, like the Democrats have gotten so good at coming out with their compromise position, like, oh, well, we're going to ask for 100 and they're going to offer nothing. So we're going to start at 25, right? And then it's just like,
yeah, bitch, start at 1,000.
Right. Exactly.
That's how the compromise works.
Right. That's how compromise works. Start big.
There's Nick joining. We mentioned you earlier,
yeah,
Nick.
Nick, we talked about you earlier. We talked about your Project 2075 plan.
Lawrence, I love everything.
That's my soapbox.
Can I add one little thing to your soapbox that I would love to see since you asked, Ash?
Yeah.
All of those ideas are great. And if I'm hoping the Democrats hire some really smart communications specialists, like branding and messaging demigods who know how to put it in language that resonates. Overturn Citizens United. What percentage of Americans do you think understand what that means?
Right.
Like, we understand what that means. I want them to lead with something that, Obama's Yes We Can, Si Se Puede, that was inspiring, and it was so simple.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this, but fucking Trump's, what did he have, those ads that said, Kamala's for they, them, Trump is for you. I I hate it.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
supposed to hate
brilliant
it.
messaging.
Brilliant messaging for who he was trying to hit. I mean, we know so not the problem, but they made it the problem, right? That's what good messaging does. And so, like, things are so bad for so many. Like, do something around the fact that like a grocery store run now like depletes your freaking bank account. Like, every time, I'm not someone who's easily shocked about money. I'm like, yeah, a cup of coffee used to cost $1 and now it's $8 here to get my my fancy coffee drink. Fine, I get it. But the grocery store, every time I go, I'm like, oh my god, my jaw hits the ground. It's so much money, and like I have a good job, thankfully. Like, there must be people like that has to be an issue, that if we elevated it and used the right language and the right kinds of branding, that everyone would be like, yeah, since Trump was elected, I can't afford the groceries I want to buy, or I can't afford to
Yeah.
eat. Like, that's it's so like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Hmm.
We should have like Democrats' hierarchy of communications. Like, don't talk to the top of the pyramid. You've got us already. Talk to the
Yeah.
bottom of the pyramid, to the basic needs and basic atrocities that they're seeing, and use data to pull and figure out what the issues are that are really going to matter, because we don't get much. It has to
Yeah,
be just
I feel like Democrats shouldn't even hire like communications people anymore. I think that's probably part of the problem. I think
Yes.
really it should come down to like every politician that gets attention is like the only thing that matters. I think Democrats have like PR'd themselves into just like complete inauthenticity, and people like just detest Democrats in so many like large swaths of the country. But like you get people like the oyster guy in Maine, you get Tyler Rico in Texas,
Oh God, he's
Mamdani,
amazing.
obviously in New York City. It's like they're
excuse me.
totally different candidates for different locations, and I think like the one size fits all. Let's poll test every word and phrase and term that we use is like what really got Democrats into this hole. So I mean, in terms
You
of
may be
like the
right.
big like in terms of the big tent politics, like I feel like Democrats, especially for these primaries, should really go where the attention is. Like if the person who's got the most small donors, like that's the candidate. The person who goes viral more often, that's the candidate.
Yeah.
Not Democrats. I fear are going to try to play it safe, and they're kind of doing that with Maine, with like that governor who like is pretty popular, but she's pretty old. She seems like pretty young, but like we'll see. That'll be like an interesting case study in the Democratic primary, like. I think she's like over 80 years old or something like that, or
Oh,
Yeah,
close to
yeah.
80. Like she
Yeah,
looks
Janet
pretty
Mills,
good. She
I
looks
think is her
pretty
name.
fit and like with it obviously. But like I think the Democrats I want the party to not interfere. Like, you see Chuck Schumer getting in on early endorsements with some candidates, but I think this is like you guys were talking about like a populist election where you need to go where the attention is, the person with the big ideas for the location, and all
Yeah.
those candidates should look different and hopefully will look different because in terms of the Big Ten, it's like I've talked about this a lot, but like Mamdani is a different candidate that can win in rural Arkansas, right? And Democrats aren't even competitive in a lot of rural southern Midwest
Yeah.
states. There's like all of these small state legislature elections where there's not even a Democrat like running at all because there's kind of no point. But and I think in terms of like the litmus test and the Big Tent, like you're going to have Democrats that have
yeah.
different views than us, like on abortion, guns, things like that. But I've said this before too. It's like I wish we had more Joe Manchins in the Senate right now. Everyone hated Joe Manchin, but it's like
Right.
we don't have any power. We don't have any investigation control over like Trump's incompetence and just blatant grifting and the
Yeah.
corruption.
Yeah.
So it's
And
like I want like a you don't want like crazy Democrats or candidates who will like obstruct everything Democrats want to do once they get in. But again, it's like we don't have any power right now. We can't protect any marginalized group of people right now. Trump's just doing whatever he wants with his executive policies, and we're kind of lucky that Congress is such a do-nothing Congress right now. But like in theory, Republicans could be like really shafting the country right now because they have full control. We're just lucky that they're so incompetent. They don't know
yeah.
what to do with the power that they have. But yeah,
Right.
any
Well,
reactions to
yeah,
that?
right. I actually kind of want to hear from you too. I realized you didn't answer the Big Tent question yet. You asked us and we went on as we do, but like, how do we message a big tent and also not dilute and alienate too much. Do you have thoughts on that? Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, people have kind of disagree with me a little bit. People who are
yeah,
like more liberal, and I'm like pretty liberal, but like I have like the kind of Ezra Klein view of like if we don't win elections, we have nothing, we can do nothing. And so like I think in terms of the Big Tent, I think Democrats, it's like the perfect case study is like the 2020 primary where they all raised their hands of like, will you support giving healthcare to convicted criminal illegal immigrants in prison to get sex changes? And like, it's such an absurd thing, but like it literally happened on a debate stage. And my advice for Democrats is don't fucking raise their hand for that again. It's like, and
yeah,
with the Big
you're
Tent thing,
clearly
it's
being
like,
played. Yeah, like this
yeah.
is,
And like a lot of more liberal-minded people that I would argue might be unelectably liberal, as in like it just seems like Democrats wrap themselves around the axle a lot on very micro niche issues where it's like, especially like the extreme woke side of the tent is like you almost have to have a college degree in woke studies to even know what like some of these real liberal people are talking about. And for like the general election, it just it's like you look at like Latinx and like how many Hispanic people don't want to call themselves that, but you have these extremely woke, unelectably liberal Democrats that are like calling Hispanics like bigoted for not calling themselves like this identity term. And it's just like that is not good for elections. That like talking down to people. And it's like you can't argue that Democrats think they're helping black people. They got less black votes than previous elections in 2020. They think they're helping Hispanic people. They got way less Hispanic votes. Like if Democrats are so morally pure and have all the right opinions and all of this new terminology that everybody should adopt, why is it not electorally successful? So I do think, especially like you brought up that trans issue, the trans commercial, like super effective for Donald Trump. Like they've done studies and showed that like it definitely moved in the last week. And so like obviously it's wrong, it's bigoted, it's shitty, but it seems like Democrats are almost like they're screwing themselves over getting into such niche art like subjects that just I think more Democrats should be like, that's a state issue. Like if you're running for president, I don't think you should have an opinion necessarily on like one trans athlete in one random district in a state that you're not from and have no control over. And it's like if you're going to lose an election and then not be able to help trans people because you're raising your hand about trans prisoners, illegal immigrants should get sex surgeries in prison paid for by the government, and then like you lose the election, you're not helping any minority group that you want to, and then like the fascists take over and everything's worse for everybody. So that when I think of like Big Tent, it's almost like don't lose getting into intentionally getting yourself buried deep into rabbit holes that the average general election voter doesn't understand, maybe isn't even sympathetic to if they do understand it, and that kind of thing. So I don't know, any feedback for that?
Yeah, so my kind of gentle pushback is I think the issue isn't that the left pushes those topics, it's that the right is so good at setting traps for the left and
That's a good
steering
point.
the
Yeah.
conversation. If I'd been on a debate stage and someone had asked that question, my response would have been like, fuck you for asking such a goddamn dumb question. Like, how dare you try
Lawrence for
to
president.
steer the conversation away from healthcare and away from all of the big things that we should be doing. Because you know what trans people care about? The fact that groceries are too fucking expensive. The fact that they can't get affordable healthcare at all. Like,
Yeah.
these are the things that people care about. Some fifth place swimmer lost to a trans person and she's made a fucking multi-million-dollar career out of running on that for the last like, shame on us for elevating that person. She's a kid who is unhappy that she lost a race and she's blaming the first person that she can think of,
Yeah.
which is the trans kid, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, fuck that.
Right.
That is not a social issue that
Yeah.
a country of 330 million people need to be concerning itself with. Like, we need to defend our trans siblings. We need to defend immigrant and Latino communities. We need to not use stupid words like Latinx. But also, we need to not let ourselves get steered into, like, the fucking abattoir of public opinion because the Republicans are so fucking good at setting up conversations around, do you support immigrant trans people getting gender reassignment surgery in prison free of charge? fuck you for even asking the question. That is
Right.
such a waste of
This-
time.
That's 100% it, Lawrence. It's around redirecting to what's important and not falling for traps.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
we're going to defend trans people getting the health care that they need. And also, this is not what the American people care about. And I'm not raising my hands like I'm in second grade and I need to use the potty. Please don't ask me to do that.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Pete Buttigieg is pretty good about redirecting conversations and elevating what the main point is on
Right.
thinking on his feet like that.
Right.
And
And that's the other
I
point,
would,
right? Like,
yeah,
we should go on Joe Rogan. We should go on every goddamn podcast, right? Like,
Yeah. Democrats
Dash,
should be on
you're-
Fox News every day,
right.
pushing
Be on
back and
Fox
be
News.
like the one sane voice that's telling all those, like, addled, addicted to, Fox News viewers that, like, like, just argue reality for the sake of reality. And I do think with like the big push for like really progressive, like a new FDR style of politics, is like Republicans will call everything Democrats want to do communist and socialist, no matter how moderate or far
Yeah.
left it is. So like, just say what you want to do, because you could say like, you could literally run like Lindsey Graham as the Democratic nominee, and like Republican attack ads would still be, he's a communist, he's a socialist, he's a Democrat. So like,
They
no matter
call-
what you're going to do, they're going to call it that. Might as well just do the policies and go for
they-
and advocate for the things that you
They
want.
called Obamacare socialist and communist, right? It was literally Romney Care. Mitt Romney
Right.
implemented it in Massachusetts.
Right.
It was literally a Republican idea, and they managed to call it communist and socialist, and people believed it. So you're
Yes.
totally right. Like, know that they're going to call you communist and socialist in advance, and fuck it. Like, swing for the fences. Go big.
Yeah. When it comes to, I'm going to say a communication strategy again, and forgive me because that's how my oldster brain works, is Lawrence, I'm thinking, Lawrence and Frederick Pogue and Nick Parrow on their Banner, one of their early Banner and Backbone shows. I don't remember which one of you came up with it, coined the term eagle jizz. Now bear
It
with
was
me.
Frederick.
It was Frederick. It sounded like a Frederick thing. They coined this term and they were cracking up as they did it. And it refers to men being so patriotic. You could probably define this better than I get, like hyper, like Trump flags furling on the back of their trucks, eagles on their chests.
Right. Yeah,
Like,
it's like
flagellating
America,
themselves.
fuck yeah.
It gets very
like,
homoerotic very fast.
And it's
right.
it's two
It totally
words.
does.
It's two words that convey so much because it's us using their kind of derisive language that they usually use against us. You beta boy, cuck, blah, 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 eagle jizz.
Right.
And it can negate anything that someone
You
like
ready
that
grandma
comes.
just coined eagle ejaculation.
Jack, oh my God, you
Yeah.
ready, grandma? I'm ready, grandma.
Exactly. It's like that argument is, like there's certain arguments that you listen to and you're like, it's just eagle jizz, right? That's just literally like
Shuts it
wrapping
down.
the flag around something and calling it patriotic, and there's nothing to it other than like hollow patriotism. It's not there's no
Yes.
heart or soul or actual patriotism to it.
Yes.
I think
and so-
Democrats should take back the imagery of the flag and stuff. And that's,
For
sure.
Yes.
Democrats suck at politics, but like, they've almost, you get some real left people and they're like, the American flag is a symbol of oppression. It's like, you're not going to win an election that way. Come on. Like, we can't have the American flag, but like Democrats really need to go into the patriotism, the Constitution, like bring up the don't tread on me flags, because like right now, all those people with those "Don't Tread on Me" stickers on their trucks, they're like, "Tread on me harder, Daddy," with all this ICE stuff, and
Totally.
like looking the other way as Trump like just destroys
Yes.
the Constitution and shits
Tread
all
on
over
me
it.
harder.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Right.
literally
And
what it is. It's like they're
Yeah.
licking the boots of the actual fascists, and like
Yes.
every all the Second Amendment people that have been hoarding arms for the
was
second there's tyranny from the
just gonna say
government, like they're just
Oh
happy
my
it's
God.
their guy doing all the tyrannizing,
Right.
You are
It's like,
so-
congratulations, guys. You collected all these guns, in the event that the government rose up against you.
Yeah.
And now it's actually happening.
Yeah,
And-
ICE
and you're
agents
all
are
like,
abducting
oh, no, wait, but
U.S.
it's our
citizens
guy,
on the
so we're
street.
cool with it.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my God. I will point out, I said this in the chat and I'm going to say it out loud so it's captured of when you were talking earlier, Dash, you used the word woke as a pejorative, right? You were like all the woke people in the tent, this and the woke that. That's Republican language. So
Yeah.
that's
When
the
I say
kind
that,
of
I
thing where
mean,
they took something that we had that meant to
oh
be
yeah,
literally awake and aware.
right.
Um, and that was a really that is a really positive thing. Call me woke all day, and I will happily accept the term. But they have pivoted to mean something that is a pejorative, and that's like language matters. Um, and so I would A of all caution that, B of all, that's what we need to do. That's what the Democrats need to do is to take back simple language, right? One syllable word, woke. And every Republican knows that you are conveying so much with that one word. But we need to keep our words, and we need to find simple ways like Eagle Jizz, but maybe a little CNN
Yeah.
friendlier
Eagle
than
just,
Eagle
yeah.
Jizz. But
Well,
things
I think,
that I roll at them and mock their own way of being. Um, and I do my third point on that is let's bring it back to Thanksgiving. If you're going to Thanksgiving and you have to face down some MAGA relatives like you mockingly wrote about, do you have advice for folks, or does anyone in the chat have advice for what to do other than not show up?
well, I think we should. I think people are too often throwing away their friends and family, and there is, especially right now on the internet in general, but especially in politics, where it's like, I feel like you're just not convincing anybody of anything, and then isolating yourself further from your friends and family is maybe not good. Like just in general for society and for
Yeah.
culture and for our mental health. I do think that there is value in discussion, and even if they're like, a crazy mega uncle or something like that, like I don't know. It's just I feel like, especially on the internet, it's so easy to just throw away everybody. And it's like, people talk about that in dating culture. Oh, like the first fight, it's like there's more people on Tinder or Hinge. Like in
Yeah.
like young people, like they just constantly are throwing away friends and like never talking to them again. And I guess it's easy to do as we're more digital, but I just think like retreating from the debate. It's like Democrats not going on Fox News or Joe Rogan. It's like you have to have the debate. That's like the only thing that matters, the only thing that can change anyone's mind. And then just saying I'm too good to talk to to all these people who are like the mega uncle. I don't know if that's politically helpful, or if that is something that we should do. Now, granted, if they're like really toxic, like by all means, you don't have to surround yourself with toxic people. However, in this political context, I just don't, I don't think, like I have MAGA family, and it's easy to not talk about MAGA, like politics, like coworkers. It's easy to not bring it up, but you don't have to like cast them out of, their, your life because of that.
That
Yeah.
is a really interesting and hard conversation, I think. And the story that I shared is around this is specifically from the point of view of if you are parenting a gender nonconforming child. Right now, is it safe to bring them home if you're facing up against MAGA transphobic relatives? My pushback a little bit on that, I hear you, and if we all isolate, like go to our corners, we never hear each other. As a parent, if if it doesn't feel safe right now, like you got to protect your kid first, like that. And sometimes you need to protect yourself first. Dan Savage always says, he's a sex and relationship podcaster and writer who I love. You probably have heard of him, but just in case, he says this specifically around family members who won't support their gay kids, their queer kids, that if they won't let you bring your partner home, if they won't respect who you are, like he always says, give them a year, answer any question that they have to ask that's reasonable. And then after that, like your only power is your presence, and how that can move minds if they realize they're going to lose you if they don't acknowledge who you are and who your partner is. But you do need to give a lot of time and grace and potentially answer questions to try to bridge the gap. And, he says give a year, like it can be a lot for someone to take in.
Yeah, that's pretty
And
thoughtful.
I feel like that's pretty good advice. We've had 9 years of Trump. If I am very thankful. Well, actually, my father and my late stepmother would have been these relatives. She died, and he has dementia, so it's not really and they're on the other side of the country. But like, I would not have sat down at a table with them in 2025 for a
Yeah.
holiday. Like, I just
It's interesting. I'm feeling
yeah
more confrontational kind of
yeah
as things progress.
yeah
I got pushback the other day for a reparations article that I wrote from somebody, and I think past me would have tried to compromise or maybe just ignored. And I was like, no, actually, I know my mind on this. I know the topic really well. I've thought about it and researched it. I can absolutely hold my own. And what I discovered is, Yanni just said something in the chat, that, basically, when you push back against a lot of MAGA people, they fold, right? Like, because they're not used to actually having anyone stand up against them. And so I'm kind of feeling like, yeah, go be there with your presence, but also if somebody misgenders your kid, correct them. And if they keep doing it, correct them again. And if they get it wrong, if they get angry, if they turn it into an unpleasant and toxic situation, leave. Withhold your presence, Like I'm kind of in the no more fucking compromising with Nazis phase of my life. I've entered my no Nazis era, my no compromise with Nazis era.
Oh my God, are we
Stop the
having the
presses, alert Taylor Swift.
Oh my God, are we having are we at the inflection point where this conversation can happen? Because we have slightly different views. And I'm like very comfortable talking about this with you, Desh, because we're basically aligned. We just have different ways of maybe how we manage these situations. And I'm like, oh my God, is the Overton window moved so far that like this is where the conversation can happen, because you can't have it with someone who comes in and is like,
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel
I was
like,
about to quote what someone said to me on Substack yesterday. Should I say it out loud? It has an F
Sure.
on it. Well, he was sharing a video of me, and it was not about politics. It was about dating, but I would say that they are all related. And his feedback on my words was, I wouldn't fuck her with someone else's dick. You can't have a conversation with someone who leads with that.
right.
And I cried real
Yeah.
single lady tears over that fellow and his 36 followers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, collectively
It's
not willing to gangbang me or something.
right.
So sad.
I don't know. I just think we're like too polite as a society in America, and especially like Democrats. It's easy to like not have those discussions. But I think more people should be told to their face that they're fucking morons. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think it's like you lose the debates you don't have, and like you look around like at the scoreboard, and like you look at like the Republican Party, like the MAGA wing is like shifting into this like neo-Nazi, like the JD Vance kind of style of politics, where they're like, I'm not racist, I'm not xenophobic at all, but my perception of America is that these following groups of people should not be allowed to immigrate here, and we should maybe deport them. So it's like those people don't get pushback that like that's straight up racism, bigotry, Nazism.
Right.
Like I think we need to stand up more for our beliefs and values, have more debates, be more annoying, like in general, like with
Yeah.
people who are like toxic. American society is so polite that just not enough people are told that they're wrong, told that they're stupid. And I think that's kind of fair to do, because like I have this problem with like people, when you like a lot of conservatives, it's unfortunate that when you're really debating the issues and like you get into like the issues of like empathy and the policies that would come from just having empathy for people, at the end of the day, it's like so often the people I really get deep into the like argument with is like at the end of the day, they only vote because they have like a bunch of like stocks in oil companies, and that just keeps going up when Republicans are up. And like, they're not trans, they're not gay, they're not all these things. That, government really doesn't even affect them at all, and like they're not a marginalized group of people, so that they're able to like skate by without being affected by politics. And then at the end of the day, it's always like some monetary interest that really informs their
Yeah.
vote, and it's like that gets frustrating. But those are the kind of people you should kind of call out and have those debates and arguments with.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Like my whole thing is, I'm not saying go in hot, right? Like don't go in primed for a fight. Go show up, be there and try to, do the accommodating thing by being with family or whatever. But if someone comes for you, don't back off, right? And if someone else makes the situation so uncomfortable that you feel like you need to leave, leave. Like it took me a long time in my life to get to the point where I realized, my gift is my presence is a gift to you. And if you're going to treat me with disrespect, and if you're going to, be mean to my kid or whatever, not understand some basic boundaries, like, hey, as a gay dude, I deserve the same respect as anybody else, then leave. And if they're, if they turn that into a, world ending, oh my God, how could you leave Thanksgiving dinner like that? You can be like, well, until you can treat me with respect or call my kid by the right gender and right name, we're not going to be here. And that's on you. You have the option, you have the choice to listen to my kid and use the correct name. And if you don't do that, we're not coming back.
Yeah, and I think presence is like you guys were talking about. Presence is such a big thing in politics. It's like most people who are bigoted just don't know that group of people that they think they're bigoted against. Like,
Yeah.
you get the KKK members that like get a black friend and then like slowly start like taking off the Nazi tattoos. Like how many people that are transphobic just don't know anybody who's trans or don't have anybody close to them. Same thing with like the homophobes. It's like they just aren't really familiar with gay people just being normal people with the same concerns, issues, problems in life, etc. So I think sometimes the presence
100%.
is the kind of like political argument where, hey, I talked to a black trans person and I wasn't robbed. They didn't try to turn me trans. I didn't turn gay because I knew a gay person. It's like everything worked out, and maybe I don't have to be a bigot. And part of the problem too is you got to wait for like the old bigots to die, and generation change is slow. It's like every generation. It's like like by the time like I'm 90 years old, there'll be a bunch of issues that I'm behind the times on, and then I'll die, and like generation D or whatever
that,
we're
right?
on
Like,
will.
when I'm 90, like what's the thing gonna be that I'm gonna be the weird old man who won't learn and adapt? Like
Probably like marrying robots.
totally.
We're gonna be like, you should marry a person, damn it.
Right. Our
Like,
AI
shut up, old
are
man.
people.
That's already
I
happening.
remember
People,
when AI was just a dumb Grammarly robot.
Right.
people are marrying or partnering with AI already. So it's got to be
Yeah,
something
right.
much more than that when you're it'll be like you have to actually talk out loud. Your brain chips don't like if you just vibe each other back and forth through your brain chips, you're not really from a
Yeah.
long distance. That's not connecting. I don't
We'll have
know.
no person-to-person like interaction at all.
Right.
In 100 years, everything will
Probably.
be digital
the
and
coming
interface.
pandemics will make
Right.
Oh
it
my
such that
God.
none of us are allowed to leave the house.
Yeah.
It'll be something crazy like that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I am so thankful we can have conversations like this. As you were talking, Dash, I was thinking about like when you were saying like people haven't met and maybe don't know gay people, trans people, people of other races. Like that's why Lawrence and I get on the air 6 days a week and we try to bring as many differing voices in. Always we don't bring in conservatives. Maybe there would be someone who, I mean, we don't bring in MAGA people. But we do try to index heavily into like people who perhaps you don't know anyone like this in your real life. But if you like, I know a lot of trans people. I live in Seattle, so that's not hard. It's just very normal to me. But I think of my family who are like moderate Democrats, who are like, you people out in Seattle are just weird. There's no one like that among normal people. And I'm like, no, you're the weird one. You're the one behind the times, actually. Any city, any like especially younger group of people, like you're going to know gay people and trans people. Like that's just a fact now. So let's help everyone see that, even if it is online. The conversations are still real. It's hard to negate someone when you know their humanity, right?
Yeah, that's a Thomas Jefferson line that you can't really call someone a demon when you're like cutting bread together or whatever it's for. I butchered that, but it's basically that. Like he would have a bunch of people over to his dinner party, like his political enemies, and it's like, yeah, once you're actually talking to them, like they're the insults they use for you go down a little bit when you had a nice, pleasant interaction.
Yeah, I love it. And hopefully, maybe let's bring it all back this Thanksgiving as we all gather to break bread and eat tryptophan soaked turkey.
Break
We'll
hearts.
all,
I feel like we needed something punchier there. Break bread and break hearts.
oh,
Yeah.
is that
There
what
you
you're
go.
doing this Thanksgiving, Lawrence? I don't think my Thanksgiving will be quite that racy, but maybe. I still have 24 hours. Are there any hearts out there to be broken? I can give it a try.
Such an existential question, Dana.
I don't
Are
know.
there any hearts left out there that can be broken?
You're right. That was a little melodramatic, but are you doing something fun, Dash? Are you hosting a Thanksgiving dinner? Are you going somewhere?
No, I'm going to Phoenix, Arizona for a job, and I'll have a Friendsgiving.
Nice.
I do love a good Friendsgiving. Beth Cruz offered up breaking bread and balls.
Yeah, no, that's breaking bread and breaking balls.
Coated with some
Welcome
evil
to
jizz.
I kind of love that. I'm going to be having a very quiet Thanksgiving at home with it's just a family Thanksgiving, but it's the last one before my older daughter leaves for college next
Oh,
year.
yeah.
So we're dividing and conquering on the food, and I have to we're gonna make a homemade mac and cheese casserole, kind of big bubbly thing, and a homemade apple pie.
Mm.
Um, and then just the basics. Won't be anything too fancy. How about you, Lawrence? Are you going to your sister's?
Yeah, yeah. So my sister is hosting, we're just doing a family Thanksgiving. We will, again, almost certainly fight about politics, even though we're all liberal Democrats of varying degrees. We will find something that we disagree on and debate it endlessly, which is fun. That's what we consider fun.
Yeah, I love it.
And bonding.
Give
That's
them
why
all
I am the
hugs.
way that I am.
Yes,
I'm making
give
the
them.
apple pie. I'm making a salted caramel apple pie, apparently.
Ooh,
Sounds good.
Yeah.
that sounds amazing. I'm not much of a pie maker, so I think we're gonna go pretty basic, but I did get a vanilla ice cream and caramel sauce to put on top of it because I was feeling a little caramel this year too. What's
Nice.
your last thing before we go? What's your favorite thing on the Thanksgiving table? Dash, you first.
Um, any kind of like sweet potato casserole is pretty
Yeah.
solid. And
Are you
just
pro marshmallow or anti marshmallow?
I am pro a little marshmallow. I don't really have a sweet tooth at all, so I'll scrape most of it off. But a little bit of like
Ooh.
the sugar on top is kind of nice, but just not crazy overdone.
I'll take your marshmallows. It's my favorite part. Lawrence, what's your favorite?
You know this. Like my homemade stuffing recipe.
Yes.
I yeah. I I'm not making the stuffing this year, and so it's gonna make me crazy that I'm
Yes.
not gonna get like my
I know.
I make a really good stuffing, y'all.
He does. I was going to say I haven't had it in years, but my favorite traditional Thanksgiving dish is Lawrence's stuffing. It's
Nice.
so good. I don't even like stuffing that much, but his is amazing. But otherwise, I think my favorite is like that junction of having just the perfect mashed potatoes with just enough gravy and turkey. That like mouthful all together.
Nice.
Delicious.
Dash, I feel like we could talk to you forever, but we're like 10 minutes over. So
Oh my
thank
gosh.
you for
Yeah.
running along with us
Yeah, no
and
worries.
for being here.
Yeah,
We'd
thanks
love
for having me on.
Yeah,
This was
loved
so
this
fun.
conversation today. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
We
we'll do it again sometime.
definitely, for sure, we're bringing you back on, I hope, probably in 2026. I can't believe we're so close to the end of the year.
Yeah.
I did put this in the chat, y'all, but one last thing before we go is I noticed that we are both running 50% off sales for paid subscriptions.
Nice.
And Lawrence, I don't know if you coined the term Blue Friday, but we're calling it Blue Friday. That don't go spend your money on crap for Black Friday. Like spend your money supporting the content creators you love here on Substack if you're so inclined. And the Halfway Cafe, like that is a solid use of your funds. So
Yeah.
um,
Guaranteed to make you laugh and think and actually
Yeah.
inform you about what's going on in politics.
yes, absolutely. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And
Yeah.
we are off tomorrow for Thanksgiving. I will be podcasting at 2 p.m. Eastern time with Shar Sundust, having a like very zen, on writing and spirituality sort of chat. And then we're back for Fucked Up Friday. Oh my gosh. And we have David Schuster joining us. We had a last minute switch again.
That's right.
Descent in Bloom had to wait a week. She was supposed to be our guest. We haven't updated our graphic or anything, but David Schuster, Emmy Award winning MSNBC, The Young Turks
Nice. Good
newscaster,
get.
David Schuster is coming in
Yeah.
to do Fucked Up Friday with us. And I can't wait. So we'll see you all Friday.
Bye, everybody.
All right. See
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye,
Love you.
Have a good one.
David.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Mwah.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.